Hello, I'm Jeremy. I know I don't normally make videos like this, but I just wanted to make a video talking about 4 really cool movies that I saw recently. First, let's talk about PG Psycho Goreman. If you want a movie that knows it's silly and doesn't take itself too seriously, while at the same time is an incredibly goofy retro homage, PG is the film for you. I can definitely understand the humor not clicking with everyone, but I really enjoyed the humor of Psycho Goreman. There were some funny lines and some enjoyably dark humor. Easily my 2 favorite parts of the film were the practical effects and PG himself. The practical effects in this film are incredible, brilliantly capturing the campy nature of the film while still being unique. I especially loved the effects on Alistair when he turns into a brain. It's really fun and creative. And as for PG, my god, do I love him. I love how he clearly has contempt for everyone and everything around him and is making all these incredibly dangerous threats, but nobody takes him seriously because of how he's under Mimi's control. It's a brilliant comedic contrast that never gets old, and both the practical effects and voice of PG really work. By contrast, Mimi was the weakest part of the film. No hate towards the actress who played her, but this character was really insufferable. Mimi certainly had her moments, but for the most part, she was an unlikable little pill who basically bullies her brother Luke, who actually is alright. And yes, unlikable characters can be funny, but in my opinion, Mimi was just too unlikable to be funny, and really dragged the film down. But yeah, aside from Mimi, PG Psycho Goreman was a very fun and very funny movie. It was appropriately campy, enjoyably silly, and is just a very fun popcorn, turn your brains off type of movie, filled with a ton of campy humor and very well done gore. It's certainly not a film for everyone, but for those it's for, it works. Next, there's TerrorVision. This was a double feature for an event where me and some other people watched Killer Clowns from Outer Space. And while that movie was really good, and one I also recommend checking out, I absolutely fell in love with TerrorVision. Like PG, TerrorVision is an incredibly campy, ridiculous movie that doesn't take itself seriously at all. Except while PG took more of a parody approach, TerrorVision just went balls to the wall insane. Every single character in this movie acts like a cartoon. The dad overacts so much, Tim Robbins and Howard the Duck would be jealous. The grandfather is absolutely hilarious and unfortunately dies way too early. The sister character Susan is really funny, and her outfit is essentially every 80s fashion trend rolled into one. Susan's boyfriend OD is basically Bill and Ted on steroids. Medusa is a very enjoyable and fun parody of horror hosts, and the script is hilarious. I also like the monster itself. It looks absolutely fantastic, and I like how, as opposed to it being an evil space alien, it's actually just an intergalactic pet that got out of control. That's very creative and interesting. The only problem is that the film ends way too abruptly. It's not a bad ending by any means, but compared to the mountain of crazy that came before, this ending feels way too rushed. But aside from that, TerrorVision is awesome. If you like your horror movies campy and insane, TerrorVision is the film for you. Definitely a film I'll rewatch in the future. Next is easily the most well-known film I'll be talking about in this video, The Mitchells vs. the Machines. This is, without exaggeration, the best film of 2021 so far, with Psycho Goreman at a close second. Everything about this movie is fantastic. The animation is gorgeous and visually creative. The characters are humorous and likable. The villain has an understandable motive, but easily the best part of this film is the humor. This film is so freaking hilarious. The humor is just so clever and enjoyably absurd, and probably the only time meme humor was used in a film and it didn't feel outdated or cringy. And I also really empathized with the main character, Kate. Like her, I'm very creative and have a passion for film, and I related hard with her journey from leading a regular life to heading off to college. And Eric and Deborah Bot 5000 were really funny. Both Beck Bennett and Fred Armisen did a great job, and their comedy style feels very improv-like. Also, like Cellspec said in her review of the film, they're used in moderation so the audience won't get annoyed with them or be distracted by them. Which was a good choice. Overall, The Mitchells vs. the Machines was an absolutely fantastic, fun movie, that was perfect for anyone of any age. It's hilarious, adorable, suspenseful, emotional, and just an all-around good time. Also, it gave us this scene.
Your flight will last forever, and your final destination is the black void of distant space.
Yeah, that always makes me laugh. Finally, there's Sorry to Bother You, and my God, was this film good. Easily my favorite part of the film is the main character, Cassius Green. Cash is insanely likable. From the moment the film starts, the audience immediately connects with him through his identifiable struggles with both money and getting to the top. And Lakeith Stanfield does a fantastic job giving the character a likable and affable charm. Donald Glover was originally going to play Cash, but he passed because of his shooting schedule for Solo, a Star Wars story. And while I'm sure Donald would have been good in the role, Stanfield just kills it in a way I don't think any actor could. And the rest of the film works insanely well too. Sorry to Bother You is a fantastic satire of the struggles of everyday people and the horrible things the higher-ups do to make their lives miserable. It manages to perfectly display this satire without being too heavy-handed with its message, and like the character of Cassius Green, the film's message is one everyone can relate to. Because we all have our struggles that we have to deal with, and people who have a better life but don't necessarily deserve it. And in addition to being a great satire, the film is very funny. Sorry to Bother You is a very dry sense of humor, focusing a lot on witty lines and verbal humor, pretty much all of it landing, at least for me. I also like how whenever Cash is telemarketing, the film shows this by bringing Cash into the person's house and showing the person in the house reacting like he's right there with them. It's very interesting and creative. But what makes Sorry to Bother You so awesome, aside from pretty much everything about it, is the absurdist element. First, there's the white voice. Basically, certain characters of the movie can manipulate their voices in order to sound white, and it's a very clever and interesting way to catalyze the story. Whenever the film does this, it feels very uncanny and creepy, which the characters in the movie point out. But this is clearly intentional. The white voice is clearly meant to symbolize a phony facade, a mask you put on to disguise your true identity and make yourself more palatable. And in the film, these white voices feel artificial when attached to these, for lack of a better word, black identities. Also, Patton Oswalt, David Cross, and uncredited Ryan Corsi, and Lily James do a great job as the white voices. And as for the second absurdist element, well, I can't fully talk about it because I don't want to spoil the film for those who haven't seen it, but it's just absolutely bonkers. Imagine if Office Space suddenly turned into Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas for the last half of the film. That's what the last minute of Sorry to Bother You feels like. And my God, is it glorious. Also, there's a claymation film within the film, and it's beautifully animated and really entertaining. So yeah, Sorry to Bother You is freaking awesome. It's an incredibly funny, beautiful, poignant, absurd, relatable, and emotional satire that's an insanely awesome watch. It boggles my mind that this film doesn't have a huge cult following because it deserves it. Like Psycho Goreman, Sorry to Bother You is definitely not a film for everyone, but for the people it's for, it's absolutely fantastic. Please check out this movie. So yeah, that's the review. All four of these films are absolutely fantastic and experiences I wholeheartedly recommend. I probably won't make another video for a while, so I hope you enjoyed this one, and comment below your thoughts on these films if you have any, as well as really good films you've seen recently. Till next time, this is Jeremy, and I'll see you when I see you.